There is someone walking through life right now carrying the weight of a truth they refuse to speak aloud. They know, deep in the core of their being, they know they lost you. They see it in the silence between your words. They feel it in the distance that now stretches where closeness once lived. But here's what makes this so painfully beautiful. They cannot accept it. And God is about to reveal to you exactly why this is happening, what it means for your soul, and the divine purpose behind this moment that feels like both an ending and a beginning. Right now, as you hear these words, there is a spiritual awakening unfolding in your life. You may have felt it as restlessness, as sleepless nights, as a pull towards solitude, as questions that won't stop echoing in your mind. This isn't coincidence. This is divine orchestration. The universe has been preparing you for this revelation, and the person who lost you has been feeling the tremors of this shift in ways they cannot explain to anyone, not even themselves. Think about the last time you saw them. Really think about it. Did you notice something in their eyes? A flicker of recognition? A moment where they looked at you as if trying to memorize your face? That wasn't nostalgia. That was the soul's desperate attempt to hold on to something it knows is slipping through its fingers, like water, like sand, like time itself. Here's what's happening on a level most people never understand. When two souls connect, truly connect, they leave imprints on each other, energetic signatures, spiritual fingerprints. And when one soul evolves beyond the capacity of the relationship, when one person steps into their divine alignment, the other person feels it like an earthquake in their chest. They don't have the language for it. They might not even be conscious of it. But their soul knows. Their soul is screaming the truth their mind refuses to accept. This person lies awake at night, replaying conversations, analyzing moments, wondering where things shifted. They scroll through old messages, searching for clues. They drive past places that hold your memories together. They hear songs, and suddenly they're transported back to a version of you and them that no longer exists. And in those moments, something breaks inside them. Because they're not just missing you, they're mourning the future they imagined. They're grieving the person they could have been if they had cherished you the way your soul deserved. But listen closely to what God wants you to understand. This isn't about punishment. This isn't about revenge. This isn't even about them realizing your worth too late. This is about divine timing. This is about soul contracts completing. This is about you being freed from a connection that would have kept you small, kept you playing safe, kept you from the extraordinary love that is written in the stars with your name on it. There's a sacred principle that governs the universe, and it's this. Every person who enters your life is either a blessing or a lesson, and sometimes they are both. The person who lost you came into your world to show you what you don't want, to reveal to you the strength you didn't know you possessed, to break your heart open so that something far more beautiful could grow in the cracks. You weren't meant to stay with someone who couldn't see you. You weren't meant to shrink yourself to fit into their limited vision. You weren't meant to beg for the love that should have been freely given. And somewhere in the depths of your being, you knew this. That's why you pulled back. That's why you created distance. That's why even when they reached out, something in you said not anymore. And now they're realizing what they had. Now they're seeing you clearly for the first time, perhaps because you're no longer available to them in the way you once were. There's a devastating irony in this, isn't there? How people don't recognize magic while they're holding it. How they only see the light after they've chosen darkness. How they only feel the warmth after they've walked into the cold. Imagine for a moment what's happening in their inner world. They wake up and reach for their phone, hoping to see your name. They compose messages they never send. They rehearse conversations in their mind where they finally say everything they should have said when it mattered. They watch your social media from a distance, looking for signs that you're hurting, that you're struggling, that maybe, just maybe, you might take them back. But here's the truth that's tearing them apart. You're not struggling. You're glowing. You're evolving. You're stepping into a version of yourself that is so radiant, so aligned, so powerfully in your truth that it's almost blinding to witness. And this terrifies them because it confirms what they've been trying to deny. You don't need them. You never did. You chose them, and now you're choosing yourself. This is where the real spiritual warfare begins, not between you and them, but within them. Part of them wants to fight for you, wants to prove they've changed, wants to convince you they finally understand. But another part, the ego part, cannot bear the humiliation of admitting they were wrong, cannot face the shame of having taken you for granted, cannot reconcile with the person they were when they had you versus the person they became after losing you. So they exist in this painful limbo. They know they lost you. They feel it in every fiber of their being, but they cannot accept it, because accepting it means accepting responsibility. Accepting it means looking in the mirror and seeing all the ways they failed you. Accepting it means releasing the fantasy they've built in their mind where somehow, some way, they get another chance. But God didn't bring you to this moment to leave you in confusion. God brought you here to set you free, free from the cycle of hoping they'll change, free from the prison of wondering what if, free from the chains of a love that was never meant to complete you, only to prepare you. There is someone else, someone whose soul has been searching for yours across lifetimes, someone who is being prepared right now, just as you are being prepared. Someone who will look at you and see not just who you are, but who you're becoming. Someone who will love you with the kind of devotion that feels like coming home. And this person you lost, this person who knows but cannot accept, they're serving a divine purpose even now. They're teaching you discernment. They're showing you the difference between someone who loves you and someone who loves the idea of you. They're revealing to you the power of your own worth, the strength of your own standards, the beauty of your own boundaries. Let's talk about what acceptance really means. Acceptance isn't just acknowledging a fact. Acceptance is integrating that fact into your identity, into your reality, into your future plans. And this is why they're stuck, because accepting they lost you means redesigning their entire internal landscape. It means letting go of the role you played in their life. It means facing the emptiness you filled. It means starting over in ways they're not ready to start over. So instead, they hover. They orbit around your life like a moon that's lost its planet. They reach out just enough to remind you they exist, but not enough to truly fight for you. They drop breadcrumbs of attention, testing to see if you're still hungry for what they're offering. And every time you don't respond the way you used to, every time you maintain your dignity and your distance, another piece of their denial crumbles. This is excruciating for them, but it's necessary, because sometimes people only grow through pain. Sometimes the soul only awakens through loss. Sometimes we only learn to value something after it's gone. And while this isn't your responsibility to manage or fix, it is important for you to understand. Not so you'll take them back, but so you'll have compassion without compromising your peace. Now here's where divine protection comes in. God is shielding you from returning to what you've outgrown. Every time you feel tempted to reach out, something stops you. Every time they try to manipulate their way back in, you see through it with startling clarity. Every time you consider giving them another chance, you remember why you left. This is not coincidence. This is grace. You are being guarded by forces you cannot see but can absolutely feel. Angels, ancestors, divine intelligence, whatever name you give to the sacred support that surrounds you, it is working overtime right now to keep you on your path. Because going back would not be love. Going back would be fear. Going back would be choosing comfort over calling. And your soul came here for so much more than comfortable. The person who lost you may never fully accept it. They may carry this with them for years. They may look back on this chapter of their life with profound regret. Or they may construct elaborate stories to protect their ego, convincing themselves it was mutual, it was timing, it was anything other than the truth. And you know what? That's their journey. Their karma, their lesson to learn. Your job is not to make them understand. Your job is not to help them heal. Your job is not to be smaller so they can feel bigger. Your job is to honor the divine path you're on, to trust the process that's unfolding, to believe that everything is happening exactly as it should. There's something profound that happens when you finally release someone who was never meant to stay. It's like removing a stone from your pocket that you've been carrying for so long you forgot it was there. Suddenly you can move differently, breathe differently, exist differently. The energy you were spending trying to make it work, trying to be understood, trying to be enough, all of that energy comes back to you, and it's like being resurrected. This is your resurrection moment. This is where you rise from the ashes of who you were in that relationship and emerge as who you were always meant to be. Stronger, clearer, more aligned, more powerful, more magnetic, more whole. And the most beautiful irony? The version of you that emerges from this ending is the version of you that attracts the kind of love you've always deserved. The universe doesn't reward you for settling. The universe rewards you for standards, for boundaries, for choosing yourself even when it hurts, for walking away from almost enough and waiting for absolutely right. One day, and this day may come sooner than you think, you're going to look back on this moment and understand it completely. You're going to see how this ending was actually a beginning, how this loss was actually a gain, how this person who couldn't accept losing you was actually the catalyst for you finding yourself. You're going to meet someone who makes you grateful for every tear you cried, every night you couldn't sleep, every moment you felt alone, because all of it was leading you to them. All of it was teaching you what real love feels like. All of it was preparing your heart to receive what your soul has been calling in. And when that happens, when you're standing in the life you've been manifesting, surrounded by love that feels easy and true and right, you might think of this person who lost you. And instead of anger, you'll feel something softer, maybe gratitude, maybe compassion, maybe just a quiet acknowledgement that they played their part in your story perfectly, even if that part was teaching you what you don't want. But until that day comes, you need to stay strong in your knowing. There will be moments of weakness, moments when you miss what you had, or more accurately, what you thought you had, moments when loneliness whispers that maybe you made a mistake, moments when their name appears on your phone and your heart skips a beat before your mind catches up. In those moments, remember this. Remember how it felt to not be chosen. Remember the nights you cried yourself to sleep. Remember the ways you compromised yourself trying to be what they wanted. Remember how small you felt, how invisible, how unimportant. And then remember who you are. Remember that you are a divine being having a human experience. Remember that you are loved by the universe in ways that transcend human understanding. Remember that your worth is not determined by who stays or who goes, but by the simple, profound, unchangeable fact that you exist. Everything is happening in divine timing. The ending happened when it needed to happen. The distance is occurring because it needs to occur. The person who lost you is going through their process because that's their soul's journey. And you are exactly where you need to be right now, reading these words, feeling these feelings, awakening to these truths. Trust the timing, trust the process, trust that what's meant for you will never miss you, and what misses you was never meant for you. Trust that God has a plan so much bigger and more beautiful than anything you could imagine. Trust that you are being guided, protected, and loved every single step of the way. The person who lost you may know they lost you. They may feel it in ways that haunt them. They may carry that knowing like a stone in their chest, but their inability to accept it is not your problem to solve. It's not your burden to carry. It's not your responsibility to fix. Let them sit with their choices. Let them feel the weight of their actions. Let them wrestle with their denial. And you, beloved soul, you get to be free, free to dream bigger, free to love yourself harder, free to become everything you were created to be. This is your time. This is your season. This is your divine moment of transformation. Don't waste it looking back at someone who couldn't see your light. Don't waste it waiting for someone to finally choose you. Don't waste it hoping for closure from someone who can't even be honest with themselves. You are the closure. You are the choice. You are the love you've been seeking. And when you truly embody that truth, when you truly step into that power, when you truly claim that reality, everything changes. The right person won't need to lose you to appreciate you. The right person won't need distance to see your value. The right person won't know they lost you because they'll be too busy making sure they keep you. Not through control or possession, but through consistent, genuine, devoted love that asks for nothing but to be allowed to adore you. So yes, this person knows they lost you. Yes, they feel it. Yes, it's tearing them apart in ways they can't articulate. But their knowledge and their inability to accept it is not your concern anymore. You've given enough. You've waited enough. You've hoped enough. Now it's time to receive the lessons, receive the growth, receive the clarity, receive the freedom. Receive the divine love that is making its way to you right now, clearing away everything that is not aligned with your highest good. You are not alone in this. You are surrounded by divine support. You are held by invisible hands. You are loved by forces beyond measure. And every step you take forward, every boundary you hold, every time you choose yourself, you are honoring the sacred contract your soul made before you came to this earth. This ending is not your ending. This is your beginning. And the most beautiful chapters of your love story haven't even been written yet. They're coming. They're on their way. They're being divinely orchestrated as you heal, as you grow, as you become. Take a deep breath right now. Feel the truth of these words settling into your bones. You didn't lose anything. You gained yourself. You didn't fail at love. You succeeded at self-respect. You didn't give up. You woke up. And that person who knows they lost you but can't accept it, send them love from a distance. Not the kind of love that invites them back, but the kind of love that releases them to their own journey. The kind of love that says, I see you, I release you, I wish you well, and I'm moving forward. Because that's what divine beings do. They love without attachment. They forgive without reconciliation. They honor what was without sacrificing what could be. You have walked through fire and emerged not burned, but purified. Every tear you shed watered the seeds of the person you are becoming. Every sleepless night was a vigil your soul kept as it rewrote your story. Every moment of doubt was actually your inner wisdom asking you to trust something greater than what your eyes could see. The path behind you is marked with lessons that have transformed into wisdom, and the path ahead glows with possibilities that your heart is only beginning to imagine. This moment right here is sacred ground. What you must understand is that loss is often life's most generous teacher. When someone walks away, or when you find the courage to walk away yourself, space is created, and in that space, magic happens. You remember who you were before you tried to be everything for someone who could never see all of you. You reclaim parts of yourself you sacrificed at the altar of being loved. You discover that the love you were begging for externally was always residing within you, patient and eternal, waiting for you to come home to yourself. The person who could not accept losing you is carrying a burden you no longer need to share. There exists a profound truth in the architecture of divine timing that most people overlook. Every ending arrives precisely when your soul is ready to receive what comes next. Not a moment sooner, not a breath later. The universe operates with an intelligence that transcends human understanding, orchestrating circumstances with precision that would humble the greatest minds. You were never meant to force doors open. You were never meant to convince anyone of your worth. You were meant to stand in your truth so completely that the right doors would swing open effortlessly, and the right people would recognize your light without you dimming it to make them comfortable. As you move forward from this chapter, Carry with you not bitterness, but gratitude. Gratitude for the clarity that pain provided. Gratitude for the strength that struggle revealed. Gratitude for the divine redirection that felt like rejection, but was actually protection. Every person who could not hold space for your greatness was actually clearing space for someone who can. Every relationship that ended before you wanted it to was actually saving you from a future that would have diminished you. The universe loves you too much to let you settle, even when settling feels safer than surrendering to the unknown. You are standing at the threshold of a love so pure, so aligned, so divinely orchestrated that it will make every heartbreak make sense. Someone is being prepared for you right now. Someone whose soul recognizes yours. Someone who will love you with the devotion you thought only existed in dreams. And when that love arrives, you will understand why nothing else worked out. You will see clearly that every goodbye was guiding you toward the most important hello. Until then, be gentle with yourself. Honor your healing. Trust your journey. And know that you are exactly where you need to be. Here is what I need you to remember when doubt whispers in your ear. You were never too much. You were just meant for someone with more capacity. If this message touched your heart, leave an amen or a in the comments. And if you feel someone needs to hear this today, share this video with that person. Remember, you are loved by the universe exactly as you are. Your happiness in love is already written in the stars. Until the next video, may divine light illuminate your path.